Hey there folks, this is DMC Jedi Man. I'm coming to another video. Today is the spoiler-filled review of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. So, if you have not seen the film yet and you do not want spoilers, then stop watching this and either check out my spoiler-free review or go watch the movie and then come back to this, because I don't want to ruin anything for anyone. I really have a lot to talk about. For those of you that are staying on to watch this, thank you for sticking by. Don't forget, if you like my content, be sure to like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon so you're notified when I upload. Check out my gaming channel sometime if you like video game Let's Plays. And feel free to follow DMC Jedi Man's Den on social media. I'm currently on Facebook, Twitter, and Discord. Links, as always, to everything will be in the description below. So, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. It came out today. As you can see, I'm still in full costume, you know, from going to it. I haven't even put away my treasures yet. I got the Ecto 1 popcorn bucket, because anyone that knows me knows I love the Ectomobile. Still full of popcorn too, because although I like the bucket, I'm not a big popcorn eater. Also, the 802 Ghostbusters were there, and got a couple little freebies from them. They had a 3D printed mini puffed figure, so I'll put him in my collection. And I got this neat little Ecto 1 temporary tattoo. So, Frozen Empire is amazing. So, starts out in the past. We actually get to see Hook and Ladder number 8 as an old-timey fire station. And you got these guys going on a call. And it turns out this Adventure Society had gotten this orb containing the new bad guy, Garaka. And they were playing something on a phonograph that was starting to open it. And he froze them all solid. The firemen burst in, find them all solid, and they shatter. Then it cuts to, you know, present day. We got Phoebe, Trevor, Callie, and Gary in the Ecto 1, which has an updated paint job. They're trying to bust this sewer ghost. It's like a sewer dragon. You know, amazing scene. Lots of destruction. You know, they get to use the new RC ghost trap that the Ecto 1 has. And you can see the Ecto's got some issues. You know, the windows won't crank, the air conditioning doesn't work. At one point the lights and siren die out, and they have to have Trevor try and get it. They still have the RC car ghost trap too, but unfortunately it's not able to catch this thing. But they do manage to bag this ghost. Unfortunately, all of their destruction has upset New York's new mayor. That's right, folks! Dickless is now the mayor of New York City. Walter Peck, played once again by William Atherton. Hopefully I said his last name correctly. You know, and, you know, he's having a fit over the destruction they caused, and particularly the fact that Phoebe's involved since she's, you know, a minor. It's like Trevor just turned 18, but Phoebe's still 15, so basically they ground her from being able to do ghost-busting things until she turns 18. Of course, she's a Spangler, so ghost-busting's in her blood, literally. So, she meets up with this other ghost in a park, and at first you think that it's Egon playing with her, but no, it's this new ghost. I think her name is Melody, you know, and Phoebe and Melody hit it off, you know, form a bit of a friendship, but unfortunately, as we find out a lot later, Melody is actually using Phoebe because she's in cahoots with Garaka. Speaking of Garaka, the orb that Garaka is in ends up being brought into Ray Stan's, or Ray's Occult, you know, his bookshop, and he's working with podcasts, which is great. Like, all the characters we love from Afterlife are back. Podcast, Lucky, you know. Like, I wasn't entirely sure they were going to be, well, I kind of knew they were going to be back, but I wasn't sure. They're in the movie quite a bit. Anyway, though, so one of the two new characters, I think they called him Nadim, played by the same guy that was in Eternals and he was in the Kenobi show. Great actor. In fact, I honestly think his character is the breakout new character from the movie. But he brings in this, the Garaka orb, because apparently it was in his grandmother's stuff, and his grandmother passed away, and he's just trying to make a quick buck. And turns out that his grandmother was part of a long line of people that were protecting the orb, trying to make sure Garaka didn't escape. Of course, this guy failed that, since he sold it and kick-started some events. Apparently, the aunt or grandmother also had, other things, including fire. What did they call him? Fire charger, fire walker, fire master. Had fire master suits. Also had Garaka's horns, which Garaka later goes and retrieves. But anyway, they were in charge of making sure Garaka didn't get out, and he sold it to Rey. They run some tests on it, get to see the Death Chill in action, which basically will freeze anything solid, really nasty stuff. And today was a very cold day in Vermont, so it almost felt like Garaka was actually trying to get us all today. So, needless to say, Garaka, is trying to escape, but isn't quite able to. Turns out there's a new institute for ghost-busting technologies that Winston has created. We get to see some new vehicles, too. Winston has this black van that has the Ghostbusters logo. Also, Rey has a motorcycle called the Ecto C. That's neat, So anyway, so at the Institute, they're trying to examine this. It's causing haywire. We see a few other ghosts, including this creepy possessor ghost. Also, this little blob thing called Pukey that, as its name implies, it pukes on things. Also, the mini puffs are back. They've been terrorizing podcast. And, speaking of ghosts that are back, Slimer's back! He's hanging out in the attic of the firehouse. Finn tries to bust him, or not Finn, Trevor, sorry, I forgot name for a moment. Trevor keeps trying to bust him to no avail. We do get a few different product placements that, if I hadn't already been aware of the tie-ins, maybe they would have just flown over my head, but being aware of some of the tie-ins, it does feel a little forced. Like, Trevor uses Cheetos to try and lure Slimer to a trap. Cheetos, of course, having their ghost pepper chips I'm still hunting for to do a taste test. Has a really cool image of Chester Cheetahs, a Ghostbuster on the bag, so I want them. Also, they mentioned Booking.com at one point, which is another thing that actually did a Ghostbusters tie-in recently. They did a commercial that I actually reacted to already on this channel. So where was I? Oh yeah, so the Garaka orb is covered in runes, so they have to go find someone that can read a language that they got a recording of, and that's where Patton Oswalt's character comes in. He's actually in the library, and it's an okay character. He does have an infectious enthusiasm, but he basically shows us what the history of Garaka is. Gives us the lore on him, and shows and has like this little recording of the phonograph from the beginning. Unfortunately, the possessor ghost, which had gotten loose during one of Garaka's attempts to escape, followed them there, and it ends up possessing a garbage bag and takes the thing out. It gets outside, the garbage bag gets next to one of the stone lions. Also, I should mention, in their chase, they actually come across the Grey Lady, Eleanor Twitty, aka the Librarian Ghost, in a great little scene. I love Ray's face when he's like, "You." But they get it. They chase the garbage bag outside where it's gotten to one of the stone lions, and it, of course, possesses the stone lion. Phoebe has to use some technology in the ecto motorcycle in order to destroy the lion, which, of course, does not go over well. That gives Peck the excuse he needs to shut everything down again. And Phoebe, of course, being disheartened by not really being able to be a Ghostbuster, goes off to see her new friend, the ghost girl, Melody, who ends up, convincing Phoebe to bring her to a place that's going to, like back at the Institute, they have this machine that extracts ghosts from things, and Phoebe uses it to extract her soul from her body for 2 minutes, but this was part of Melody's plan, because Garaka cannot possess the living, but it can possess ghosts, so it possesses Phoebe's spirit, and gets her to release, to say the words, to release it. So Garaka's now free, starts, freezing everything over. We got icicles coming out, of the ground. Things are just freezing over. Lucky shows up, tries to fight Garaka off. He freezes the proton stream, solid, nearly kills her. So everybody regroups at the firehouse, which is supposed to be condemned. The proton packs have been taken, though I guess they had Phoebe's that she hid under the bed, and they brought in other ones from this Institute place that they had. I guess Peck doesn't know about that place, thankfully. Because Garaka's plan is he wants to release every ghost out of the containment unit, which has been under severe stress. It's like full. They actually have to, they're trying to find a new way to contain the ghosts. So Garaka shows up. We get all the Ghostbusters suiting up. That includes Ray, Winston, Peter shows up, his normal self. Even Janine, she gets her own uniform. Actually has her name on it, Melnitz. Such a great bit. We learned that Nadim is a fire master, so he can control fire. He's doing a whole training arc to try and learn how to do that. It was great to see the thing on his head that they were using on Lewis back in the original Ghostbusters. And Peter has this great bit where he's interviewing. He's like, if you ate kids, would you eat them with the skins on or off? And he keeps throwing pens at him and he's pissing him off. It's classic Peter Venkman. But we get, Garaka shows up, Well, actually, before Garaka shows up, everything starts freezing over. The Possessor Ghost shows up, first possessing a tricycle to get there, but it takes control of the Ecto-1, turns its headlights red. A great homage to, actually, my favorite episode of the real Ghostbusters ever, called Follow That Hearse, because I love possessed vehicle stuff. I'm disappointed, though, it was just a quick scene. Like, I wanted to see more of the possessed Ecto-1. But then, Garaka shows up, rips the doors off, and they got the idea, since Garaka can be contained with, like, copper or brass, they melt down a bunch of brass items, because they don't have any copper. Punks strip copper out of the firehouse in the 90s. Also, I have to mention, Ghostbusters 2, although I always believed it was canon, it's been confirmed as canon in this movie since they mentioned the Statue of Liberty incident. So they melt down a bunch of brass, use it to upgrade Phoebe's pack so it can hopefully actually affect Garaka. Garaka ends up successfully breaking the containment unit open, freeing all the ghosts, thanks to Melody's help, because he's promised her that he'll open a portal to the other side, because she apparently accidentally burned her house down, killed her family and herself. Accident, of course, but, she's been wanting to cross over and hadn't been able to. So Garaka's released all the ghosts. He's got all the other busters trapped up against the wall. You know, they tried to bust him, no effect. And then Phoebe comes in with her upgraded proton pack, is able to start hurting him. Nadim gets his fire master abilities working in the nick of time, and the combined efforts of Phoebe and Nadim weaken Garaka enough where his hold on all the other busters loosens. Ray, Peter, Winston, and Janine all go down to the containment unit, reverse it so it sucks Garaka's in. So Garaka's been finally contained. New York is saved. You know, crowd of people chanting their names. Peck shows up ready to shut them all down. You know, he's upset, and people are like, so, you support the Ghostbusters unconditionally. It was you that got him to do this. Completely turning around what he wanted to do. Like, he wanted to destroy him, and instead he's now lauded as the savior of the city, thanks to him getting the Ghostbusters involved. Ooh, I know that burns him. And then, of course, we see Slimer and the earlier subway ghost thing, or not subway, sewer ghost thing, show up. So everybody gets into the ecto. They hit the lights and siren, pull out of the firehouse in pursuit. There is a mid-credit scene where a guy's at a truck stop getting out to, I don't know if he's getting coffee or what, but his truck starts up on its own. At first you think it's the Possessor ghost. I certainly did. But it turns out that the Mini Puffs has stolen his truck, which conveniently is a Stay Puft Marshmallow truck! How awesome is that? There is no scene at the end of the credits, though. So, mid-credit scene is it, but why wouldn't you stay for it? You got Ghostbusters music. The classic theme plays during the credits as well. Also, I love this little bit earlier where they show some footage of Ghostbusters stuff, and it's like there's a commercial for the cereal, some toy commercials, footage from the original music video with Ray Parker Jr. Oh, such a good movie. One thing I can see people being upset about, though, is a lot was made about the new red parkas. There was that one promo image that showed, like, everybody suited up in red parkas, and only that one scientist guy, that I don't remember his name now, the one with the glasses that I personally feel should have been Oscar, but he's the only one that wore a red parka. Well, actually, no. I think Lucky had one as well. Okay, 2 people. But Gary didn't use it. Phoebe didn't use it. None of them. You know, it felt really bad for Phoebe, like, having to be left behind on so many, you know, ghost calls in the middle because, you know, they weren't allowed to take her anymore. Overall, great film. Some great comedic bits, you know, a lot of great one-liners, you know. There's, of course, Peter Venkman's, you know, dinger is in the film. Heads up, tall, dark, and horny at 12 o'clock. There was also a reference to the Garaka orb being called a terror testicle, I think. That was pretty good. Overall, great film. Lots of callbacks, both to the original and to Afterlife. And Ghostbusters 2, you know, just such a good film. Now, where would I rank it among things? So, I personally think the original Ghostbusters is still top dog. After that, I think I would put Afterlife. Then, I think I would put this one, Frozen Empire, and then Ghostbusters 2. That's my ranking. The big bad of this, Garaka, is very intimidating. Like, gave me goosebumps at times. How scary he was. You know, the glowing blue eyes. Also, possessed Phoebe is very creepy with the light blue eyes. In terms of the new characters, obviously Nadim was the breakout star. The scientist guy was cool and all. Patton Oswalt's character was neat, but didn't really need to be there. Like, they could have given a lot of his scenes to Rey, and I think it still would have gotten things across, like Rey finding the book or something. You know, but great film. I do highly recommend you see this if you get a chance. You know, big screen is probably the preferred way to see it, but I'll definitely be buying this on Blu-ray right when it releases. I need to watch this again. I need to be able to watch all of them in one sitting. But yeah, this film, Bustin' sure did make me feel good with this one. Okay, I may have missed some scenes. My mind is racing, like an out-of-control Ecto right now. Like, I'm sure after I stop this, I'll be like, oh yeah, this scene happened. Why didn't I remember that? Or why didn't I talk about that? If I have a bunch of those, maybe I'll do a follow-up video where I talk about that stuff. But I do hope everyone enjoyed this one. Definitely go see it if you get a chance. This has been DMC Jedi Man, and I am signing off. Peace, everybody.